Indonesian President Joko Widodo has approved a new law in hopes of discouraging individuals from engaging in sex crimes against children. Convicted rapists would be forced to have a chip implanted in their ankle, face chemical castration, or face heavier jail terms. Now, this is all a result of an incident that occurred with a 14-year-old girl last month in Sumatra. She was on her way home from school when 14 men gang raped her. Now, 7 of the men that gang raped her were under the age of 18. So as a result of this, activists called for harder punishment in response to this incident that occurred. So now individuals, they will be fitted for a microchip before they leave prison to monitor them and to locate them, once they're freed. Another piece of that, as I mentioned, is chemical castration. And then the other piece is, this longer, lengthier, heavier jail terms.
So what's the thinking behind the harshness of these terms, notwithstanding the heinous nature of the offences? It seems to be extremely aggressive way to address and to punish these individuals. Not, as I said, I'm not for one moment suggesting that they don't deserve the full weight of the law being thrown at them, but chemical castration and a chip, it seems as though there's an ongoing, so there will be ongoing monitoring of these individuals, and the chemical castration part, obviously something that we saw back, many decades ago. It was seen as when homosexuality was outlawed. There was, famous cases of people being attempted to have chemical castration or just trying to change their genes chemically, which just patently didn't work and was abusive, human rights violations, et cetera, et cetera. So what's the thinking here?
I mean, the thinking behind this is to really, crack down, but the piece to note is that the president is really casting this larger net with regard to this issue rather than getting to the acuteness of what's really happening. The fact that half of these gentlemen were under the age of 18.
Right.
And there's also something that we wouldn't even do.
But what has that got to do with it? I don't understand their age, what their age has to do with the fact that they committed this offense.
Well, the point on that was just that, rather than casting and getting into the issue of the root issue of children, of these men being under the age of 18, acutely, there's kids raping kids rather than adults.
Right.
So, and then another piece with this is that, this is a measure that we wouldn't even do in the United States.
Sure, and I mean, he's been roundly, the Prime Minister has been roundly criticised by a number of European Union leaders as to the excessive nature and in regards to how he meting out of justice has been roundly criticised. This seems to be yet another measure along to an increasingly aggressive, overly, heavily penalised society. And one wonders, the extent to which how this is filtering into other aspects of society. It's clearly sought to address a very acute problem that he perceives. That it's perceived that child sex assaults are clearly an issue that Indonesia feels it needs to address very, very quickly and aggressively, and feels as though they're failing their children. I think there was a UNICEF study that said that 40% of children between the ages of 13 and 15 have been attacked at school. And you indicated some of the underlying socioeconomic problems. Some commentators have indicated that perhaps it's the abundance of excessive pornography, it's the deep-rooted poverty, it's the widespread use of alcohol. Those are type of things that fuel, and perhaps that's really where we're going with this, and that's perhaps what's fueling the activities, particularly these younger individuals, and it's that needs to be addressed rather than simply coming in harshly to punish them after the event.
Absolutely, and we're dealing with decades of institutional rape in Indonesia, and he's been under criticism. The president has been under criticism by many, EU leaders for his actions and his position on issues, and specifically on this issue. So we'll take a look. We'll keep our eye on these issues in Indonesia, and will they get to the underlying cause or the root, or will these issues be left to be ignored?